Alright, and we are back for game 2 now. We have in this one Team A1 of a Addicted Mozam Artemis Dirt versus Team A2 of Seth, Tasteful, Source, and NawFee. Already, we're probably going to see a lineup something like Mozam or Dirt LMG, with the other one probably doing either a secondary shotgun or sniper rifle. I would say Artemis or Addicted is probably going to do Doc and shotgun. But we will see. We're going to head back into Team A2 stream now, courtesy of NawFee, who looks to be playing Shredder here. We've got Tasteful on Wretch, and then we have a solid Tallboy lineup of Source and Seth. Source playing main Tallboy, Seth playing the alternates. Looks like pretty standard points just went in. Don't think there's going to be any deviations on these maps, especially a room hold. Phoenix has been marked, and somebody went ahead and grabbed it. And an AA-12 is marked as well, sitting right outside the room hold. That's going to be a plus for Team A1 in the RNG department. Card box gets opened by Carly somewhere, but will they have time to grab it? If it was in that center cabin, they might. Anywhere else, and it's going to be hard-pressed to get in the cabin in time. They're going to start heading that way now. They should make it in just in time. Nobody's going to get caught out here, so step one's complete. What they're going to have in the cabin to find and discover is going to matter. So far, they're still opening boxes. Shredder does manage to get in, gets on the back corner. Survivors who are already getting beaten by that Tallboy, that Bruiser, who managed to get multiple hits while the original Tallboy went in and took care of distracting someone else. Wretch is just going to go ahead and get Pukes in here. One of the Pukes, in fact, does manage to go ahead and get that down on Artemis, who is, in fact, Doc. Switch NawFee to Exploder. Luckily, he does see it. They're delaying that res on Doc to wait out that ante. NawFee's going to go for a pull in the doorway. Does manage to get one here. Gets the walker in the side. He's going to body block him out right now while the Tallboys go in. Little AoE bruiser action by the Bruiser, and a nade goes out to help dispatch those Tallboys really fast. Not sure how many times you want to be nading, though. Just Tallboys in a room hold. Can seem like you're helping a lot, but I know they take longer to kill, but those Reekers are just far more deadly round one. Tasteful still getting Pukes from the windows. I can hear Survivor sitting in the spit. Bruiser and Tallboy go in, leading the way for the Shredder, who is not gonna pull here, actually. I think he fell off the lip of that window, but it's not gonna matter, because that's a double down in the corner. That was not good. Tasteful's gonna go in, try to delay this here, but with their respawn timers, he's not gonna be able to delay it long enough that they can truly have concern for a wipe here, but they can keep them hurt. They do still have a propane out on that porch that they haven't made any use of, including a shield crate no one's gone out to see. They're going to get to stay in the cabin for at least one more wave. It's going to be slightly in there, but they're in the corner again together, which is not good, taking hits from these Tallboys and all this acid. They've got to split apart from these corners with each other. They're taking far too much damage because of that. Dirt, the walker, does manage to get picked up by the mom. Doc's getting some heals going around, getting a heal on mom, running over to get a heal on the walker. I believe it's Carly Mozam. That's definitely what it looks like. He's sniping. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and start pinning through some of this. Shredder's going to go in and get a really good bonk and a pull into the swarm with the Tallboys just beating the shit. There is no way. This is it. This is it. This is literally it. If he's the last one up, okay, no, Mozam's up with full health. I take it back. I thought everyone was just demolished in that. Mozam's going to go ahead and get the reses here, but they are not looking great. In fact, no, Mozam leaves him to get the reses, but if he's in swarm, he had to stop and heal himself before he went down again. NawFee's going for the stalker play. He's going to try to make it work like I did the other day, but a nade goes out and ends it. Source goes in, gets a double hit on the Survivors, and Swarm starts to move, albeit slowly. They are going to lose the cabin, but it's going to take a while to push them out here. NawFee goes for the window pull, hops right in. That was very good. Honestly, probably should have just gone for the bonk there, but he does try to go for the pull. Doesn't matter, because when he gets popped, that acid goes ahead and takes out Artemis, who was the Doc. That is a full dead on Doc. Walker's going for some things on the outside porch. He drops an ammo crate. Maybe needed ammo. Now he's going to go ahead and clear that Crusher. They still have a Wretch blocking the doorway, though. The explosion knocks him back into the Shredder, who is going to just slightly miss his pull because of the doorway, but he still goes down. Now Shredder's going to be alive. And if he doesn't call it out for them, They nade the single bruiser. If he doesn't call it out for him, all right, he's just going to go ahead and bonk. He doesn't need to, and now the Crusher in there. Oh, but the flash of the taser is going to stop that Crusher. That's why I really don't like Crusher there for those plays, but the Walker does manage to get up, although the Crush does manage to get a crush right as the Common bog him down, and it's only Mozam outside at 355 who's going to get no more than probably 20 seconds here. The NawFee Stalker's going in as the tall boy from Seth beats him into the swarm, and that is it at 4:03 on cabins. That's a very solid time for Team A2. They're gonna be pretty happy with that time, especially since Team A1 got to hold that cabin for 2 whole waves. Team A1 is probably thankful that they got out of a couple of those spots early on that looked like it could very well be a wipe, but I can't imagine they're happy about that time necessarily. It's not a lock, but that's pretty solid for this map. All right, we're going to head on over to Team A1 now for their ridden side. And it looks like we're probably going to have... Oh, hopefully they're not Shredder bugged. I didn't get to see before he switched to upgrades. I don't think the Shredder died at the end. No, in fact, it couldn't have, because NawFee went in as a Stalker, so they're not Shredder bugged. They're going to have Shredder. Regular points going in now in a little bit of a funky way. They're just spending evenly on them instead of dropping everything into one category, but it looks like they're going to get regular standard points. Artemis has his 300, I can tell. He's asking, where should I just go ahead and drop mine? Looks like Artemis is going to be their tall boy as well. Somebody on their team now should be finishing up the anti-heal and the tall boy defense, and then one more on defense and offense. There goes one. There go the rest. Looks like you're going to have a Mozam Shredder with an Addicted Wretch for the Reeker class, and then we're going to have a Artemis and Dirt combo for tall boys. Artemis heading the way with the main tall boy. That Dirt Bruiser, though, could really come into play here if they corner themselves inside this cabin as much as the other team did. Or, I'm sorry, as much as they did around before. Someone's already looting and preparing the cabin, throwing some barbed wires down. Carly's running through the middle of the map. Doc and Walker work up and make their way through the middle to the top. They sure didn't seem to loot a whole lot at the bottom. Hopefully they got everything they needed. They do open a card box, I heard, go open inside the cabin there. So that's going to be nice for them, but I'm not sure they got a whole bunch of the loot at the bottom of the map, so hopefully they had plenty up here, or else that could not be the greatest for them. Tall boys are going to go in, leading the way for the Shredder. Tall boys managed to get multiple hits. Dirt managed to get an AoE. The Shredder's in, already has an end cap at 15 seconds. That's an in cap on, looks like Seth over there, who is their Carly, probably going to be Carly's sniper. Doc goes ahead and gets the pickup, looks to be tasteful. Seth is the sniper, he has a Barrett too. Their Walker goes ahead and comes out, grabs a propane, that looks to be probably NawFee, I think that's his skin. And that would leave Source as that quarantine mom. Here goes Mozam trying to get a pull out, doesn't manage to get it, and they do get the pop. That Barrett and that 249 of Walker just blasting him to pieces. Tall boys go in, do manage to find a little value there though. A couple hits on mom, and I think maybe one hit on somebody else. They got a little bit of damage, but the team, they're going out for intel number 2. Now that is not a good sign for this team, unfortunately. They don't want to be seeing that. They got both intel cards now, so they're going to have full intel for this round. They're going to have 7-card decks in round 1. That's rougher. It's going to make some of them less susceptible to many kinds of damage. Mozam goes in, gets a little value in there. Inside, tall boys go in, they get what they can. The Doc is half, the mom is less than half, and a quarter now. Wretch is puking in from the side, getting a little bit of acid. They are going to lose the cabin though here. After wave 1, that could be useful for here to try to play catch-up on this 4:03 time. Mozam's going to go ahead and do a drop pull. He manages to get Walker alone next to the porta-potty. Actually knocks him into the porta-potty. Says NawFee, why don't you go take a break? Why don't you go sit in there for a minute and let my team come in and try to wipe you? But NawFee's not having it. He runs out. And hopefully his doc is chasing after him. How does that Molotov hit that tall boy? Was that actually aimed for him? Where did that come from? Doc does manage to go and get the heal on Walker. Walker up in that bush. He actually better watch it there, though. A lot of these bushes you can get glitched out in if a tall boy or a hawker or something smacks you up into it, and then you can't move. It's unfortunately a glitch that we can't really call a draw for either, because we know about it. We know to stay far away from that area. Shredder does go in, manages to get helpful down on Source there. Mom in the middle. Doc's getting the revive right now. Acid goes in. Might have been a slight bit late. Somebody's just standing out there in the acid and swarm. What is going on with that Mom right now? She's in place. Okay, I guess she's okay. Acid goes in again. We got a Dirt Ripper on the top, keeping them off the roof. Manages to knock the Walker back. Wretch goes bowling in. Gets a little bit of acid on some of them. Ooh, Shredder gets a tri-pole. Gets a good knock from the tall boy after that to get an in-cap on Source here. Ripper's in there delaying for as long as he can, but we're already at 3 minutes, and unfortunately it's just not looking like there's going to be enough here. Hopefully at best they can go ahead and run them out of some supplies, because they're still pretty healthy. They're not struggling quite as much here. Mozam does go in, gets a pull on the lone Carly. He managed to get some acid before getting acid bugged. Tallboy's going in for Walker on the roof. Both Tallboys going in for Walker on the roof. Crusher misses real quick, but Tallboy, he switches him off. He goes for him. Seth, right now, the Carly's being squeezed. No one able to kill that Crusher until just right now. Tallboy is managing to distract the Doc, but they only got 30 seconds here. They do have 2 reds. Oh, that pull, in fact, doesn't actually pull him up. It just manages to down him while the Mom gets caught on the shed. They do not kill the Shredder, though, so he gets a second go here, and he does manage to get the bonk here, which is going to down NawFee, the Walker, at a critical time. But they only got 15 seconds. If they just run apart at this time, it's not going to matter, and that's exactly what they're doing. I think they actually did get the res on Walker regardless, but it wouldn't have mattered even if they didn't. Carly's just going to kite the tree over here. And the tall boy is going to go ahead and say, you know what? Yeah, you got this one. A little bit better, cleaner time, and I think something a little crazier could have happened there in that round 3, especially after that down on Walker. All those commons start coming in. They play that for coverage with their LMG down in a really bad spot with that roof right there to spawn in from and get Shredder pulls almost freely from. It could have been pretty bad, but they're going to have to set a better time than that, although this time they're just going to have to match a better time than that, so they're going to need to set a better time as the infected by killing them. Round 2, we get farther afield. Honestly, I would rather play Corn here. I'd take Blazing Trails round 3 if we had to. I like farther afield, so. Farther afield used to be my favorite Shredder map because there's so many sneaky different spots you can get Shredder pulls on this map, including this obvious garage that's right above the tall boy's head right now. They're going to go ahead and spend points. Probably get regularish points on this map, although, well, I take it back. On this map, the common are pretty good. They come in from many different angles, smaller map. They might decide to go monstrous here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. So far, they've set it up perfectly for that. They've got the Reeker D once and the Tallboy Util once, and that is definitely what they're going to do here now. They are going to go monstrous. They're going to attempt to end it during a common wave, which probably is the play. When the cleaners are just so distracted by all the tall boys and all the specials coming in during a common wave, those common get a lot of uncontested hits that people just forget about or don't notice until it's too late. Next thing you know, you're on your ground, or you're on the ground and your team is on the ground with you. Team A, that's 2, right? I think that's Team A2. Let me see. Yes, Team A2, yes. Team A2 has set out pretty well before Scavenge to loot. We've got a Mom trying to rotate a gas can and a propane. They do have a defib dropped in the center. I'm surprised that a Carly... No, they got both cards last round. Never mind, they didn't have to instantly start it. Now, oh, they missed their toolkit up at the top. The tall boy takes notice of that. This map's an easy card if you have a toolkit left over from round 1, but they did not, so they did need to find the toolkit on this round, which they so far have not, even though we had people spawned up in that direction. They are likely not going to get that card, so that's something that Team A1 here has going for them. They're at least going to be 1 card short here on round 2. Shredder and Crusher go ahead and get a quick spawn. That Crusher getting a very nice quick grab. Shredder unfortunately able to get nothing. They pop him real fast, but that Crusher got good value. Even without the Shredder, he managed to crush him for 5, 6 seconds, which is going to do a decent amount of trauma. And they're going to have to start healing on that to make sure that doesn't get out of hand. They do have some med kits dropped in the center, amongst other things. I see plenty of glittering little spots. Those are probably throwables. In fact, I see a pipe bomb, I think, right there next to the trailer. We look to have some kind of like Super 90, some kind of shotgun on dock. The Carly looks to have an M1A now. The Walker actually has an RPK, a bit of a downgrade from last round's M249, even though it's blue, probably. He's going to be reloading a lot more, which unfortunately sometimes that's the difference. Doc does manage to go ahead and get the res. Nope, now she does. Spawn blocking so far was pretty good there. Carly up on the tractor. Walker down there blocking the bottom of the hill while she gets that res. Everybody's back on sync here in a second. I mean everyone. Tallboys are going to have to go in for the shredder. Wretch is going to have to try to find some opportunities for puke and acid. She's going ahead and starting puke. Shredder does get a pull. Only managed to get one on Doc though. And the Tallboy gets fried as well by this massive range damage from that M1A and that RPK. The one thing the RPK does have going for it is its bullet damage, its sheer stopping power. You're going to have to reload every, 5 seconds, but when you're firing that clip, you will do a hell of a lot of damage to almost anything you hit. Nice little burst sleep right there from Artemis. Gets 2 hits on the Carly, then goes down. They do have a propane in the middle that they're skirting around the battlefield. I think Doc's trying to drop something, maybe rotate more in. Wretch is up. Shredder's going in solo, but managed to get a quad pull. Very good solo value. Dirt's going back in with the Bruiser. AoE gets value outside, then stops it, cancels it, hits another hit as the Wretch goes ahead and manages to get the down on Carly. This Tallboy needs to find a spawn real quick. Beginning of the wave, the Common are getting in, but unfortunately he can't in time to stop it. They will get up. They do have Common coming now. Tallboy's looking to isolate this solo Mom, perhaps. He is going to go ahead and go now. He's going to act on it. He gets Mom solo. She does have... Oh, no, she only has attack, actually. So it does do massive damage, but it takes a second for him to kill her. In fact, if that knock on Carly didn't happen, she might have gone down over there. In the arms of that Tallboy. Good Wretch explosion is going to knock Carly back. At this point, Carly's been down like 3 times. If they're taking note of that, they should be focusing that hard. Carly does receive a heal from Doc. I think Mozam is looking to target the Carly. He pulls her right there. Tallboy goes in right after her too. Misses the hit, but they're going to be right back in. Bruiser goes after someone else for a bit of a delay and distraction, and then he's right back up and going after the Carly. So I think that's their play right now. At about 3 minutes, I mean, you kind of got to do something, so. Carly is rotating some stuff in from the edge of Swarm. Mozam's going in for that pull, does not manage to get it. Those power weapons go ahead and take him out. Hit on the dock there. A little bit of fall damage, too, after that tractor. Bruiser's in as well, getting a few hits on these survivors. Almost managed, it does manage to get Walker down in the Swarm, but only one up is that Wretch, and I think it's going to be just slightly too far away to get in there. Mozam does go for the pull now. Walker was in a reload, but that doesn't matter. That M1A just fried him. That was a good expectation by Seth, looking at that hay bale and ready to go when that shredder came in. They do have a defib and something in Swarm up there that they might forget about. Shredder's going to go in from behind this time. He's going to get a really good pull. That is really good value, but the flash does come out and stop both the Shredder and the Tallboy. That was a momentum-changing flash right there. A nade comes in now, takes care of some of these common. The Wretch is going to go ahead and charge in and get some acid on them. They flash the Wretch. They're going to pop her. She still managed to explode on one, even though they flashed her. Shredder gets a good pull, a quad pull. They don't seem to have too many throwables left now. This Tallboy is going to get it down on the dock, but unfortunately the Dirt Ripper's the only thing left alive, and he was too low to be able to cover. They get the revive. And at 4:38 with no horde, they are all green except for that Carly who just went yellow. That was a nice ante though there. It's going to stop them from being able to heal him, but they've got to end this quickly. Mozam is going up for the pull. If they don't see him, that could be bad. That's a good pull. They do nade it, but it's a little late. Some of the damage is taken. The only thing they stop there is the bonk. And Walker goes down in the Swarm again. Addix is charging in with the Wretch. Goes in. She's going to block their path. The explosion and the acid. That's going to be a double down likely on Doc and Walker. It is. Mom's going for it as fast as she can. The tall boy gets there just a little bit too late, but the tall boy does manage to knock them further into swarm, and the Doc's going to go down here. Can't heal herself. Too slowed by the acid. Adix is going to go in and charge. The Shredder, unfortunately, no, and nobody's going to be up. And the guy in the circle goes down, which keeps the ones outside the circle up. That is brutal. This is going to be a strong time here. Tall boys go in. Tall boy's going to manage to kill Walker here. And the pull is likely going to go ahead and end it here with that tall boy hit on Doc, but oof. If it wasn't for that one person going down in the circle when the other two were trying to get in from Swarm, they would have just gone right back down in Swarm, and then it would have been over 5 to 10 seconds sooner, but they managed to secure a really solid time there, and that 5:37 is going to be extremely tough to beat for Team A1 here. We're going to take it over to Team A2 to watch their ridden side, but Team A1's going to have to pull some things. Oh, no, I didn't see that correctly, did I? I think I'm watching Artemis, who I thought was their Doc player, but I'm hoping he had antibiotic round 1. That might have lent some of the issue for that round 1. I'm going to have to go back and watch the tape on that, but I thought I saw antibiotic still there as a pull card. It definitely should have that round 1. All right, now we're going to go over to Team A2. We're going to go back and watch the POV of NawFee's Shredder right here. It looks like he will be taking up Shredder again with Tasteful back on Wretch and Source and Seth for the tall boys. They're going ahead and spinning their points. So far, they've got the normal, pus handling slow, done a little bit of the Reeker defense. They went ahead and started regen charge, which I'm not sure if they realize. If they want to go ahead and go monsters here, they are going to be short some points. You have to skip regen charge unless you're going to skip chard, but they don't. If they're going to go monsters, they do get the tall boy attack speed, so I think they're going to realize here that they don't have enough points for it. Somebody sunk Reeker defense a little too fast, and they're not going to be able to get it. I don't know exactly how much they're working with, but I can tell you it's not enough for monsters. So yeah, they just go ahead and get sprinters, or I'm sorry, runners? I think it was runners. Anyways, they go ahead and get runners, and then they finish the last little bit on tall boy utility, so they have that stun resist, but a little bit of a point mishap, although with a 5:37 time, it might not matter. Just depends on how well this team over here plays it. Walker does have a 249. Whether it's last rounds or this rounds, that's going to be a solid damage dealer right there. Mom's got an AA-12. Doc appears to have a AK. And Mozam's going to have a sniper of some sort. That Crusher goes in. Does manage to get Walker alone, but Mozam clears it pretty quick with whatever he has. I can't tell what kind of gun he has just yet. Is he? No, he is running an AA-12, so he was sniper last round. I guess just to see through the walls and maybe do a little bullet pin, but this time he opts to go with the AA-12, so less range. That might pay off. It could, although it's going to put more pressure on the Walker to be popping these long-range wretches, and of course Shredders, who right now does go in and get a decent pull. No bonk, unfortunately. A little bit of an acid bug, but he pulls him into that Ripper hit, which continues to go, and Walker's red does get the heal by Doc, though. Doc gets a heal on Carly as she passes by as well, and heads back for more meds now. Everybody's a little spread out, which honestly is not bad when everybody's on a respawn timer for the infected side, besides the Wretch. Shredder's going to go ahead and look to get a spawn behind the silo here. Tall boys are up 2, just needs them to go. Shredder spawns. Seth's Ripper's in. Source Tallboy come in. He's going to get a good pull here. That's going to be a great pull into the acid. Unfortunately, the Tallboy walks into a bear trap, is not able to help out on that hit, and they do fry the Ripper. But that's still a good amount of damage. In fact, this Doc is, yep, I was going to say, she probably just shouldn't heal herself there. That's a better down, to be honest. She's got lives, and right now there's no danger to them, so going down there gives everybody that inspiring proc and heals everybody else up to full pretty much, and all she has to do is maybe get a free heal for trauma like she just did and heal herself, and that's it. Now they're all back. Going into wave 2 here. We got the Ripper going in first, distracting for the Shredder, who does get a good pull. Everybody except for that Mom. Fried by the AAs, but that's still decent damage. Tallboy goes in. I thought he was going to get a double hit, but just managed to get one. The AA-12s obliterate him after that. Wretch is still puking from behind the barn. I don't think they've popped it once yet, although to be fair, that is a very OP spot. And Mozam does try to come in and pop and do just that, but he gets the wretch down to about 10 HP. Tasteful smartly runs away and heals back up. Tallboy is solo on the dock right now. Shredder's going in. He's going to get a single pull on the dock. He's going to have Doc down. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Walker. That's Walker. Looked like Plague Doc skin to me for a second. So that's a down on Walker. They are a little close to each other. Tasteful does go ahead and charge on this, trying to delay. Does get anti on Doc. That's going to slow him from getting this res. But it's still pre-3 minutes. I'm not sure if they're going to have time enough to stop this fully here. They do go ahead and use a nade on that Crusher, though. And this Shredder pull is going to be good. Into Swarm with 2 yellows right here. This could be bad, especially Walker's looking for whatever he needs, but it seems they've already grabbed it. They're getting kind of a rough circle. It's pushing them down towards the corn, which you really don't want to see because you do not have much visibility down there in the corn, and then the only rest of the map is basically Shredder Primo area. NawFee elects to go Stalker here. He might try a Stalker play. The Doc's going for her. He does manage to get it, but they fry him real fast. Tasteful's going to go ahead and get in as that wretch. He gets acid and slow on him, but they do pop him before he can get in there for the bonk. That would have been crazy. Tallboy does go in, though. Managed to hit a burst sleep off that top hill. Gets a hit or two. Seth is now in. Crusher right here, but they're getting pushed straight towards the corn, which is just rough. NawFee spawns behind the hay bales, goes in. The Crusher does manage to get a crush on Seth, but they obliterate that Shredder. He gets nothing. Right now it's just Wretch and Bruiser if he decides to go in. They honestly, Team A1 needs to have somebody blocking that side where Source just got a spawn off. If they don't, they're going to get free spawns over there, even though the Shredder is going in from the corn. But they're not going to be able to see him until he gets right there. They do, but it's too late. The Doc does manage to pop him with that AK or RPK. Actually, looks like he has an RPK. I think he picked up the old one, or the new one. But they're clearing these common out pretty well. The Mom goes down, but Mom hasn't been down yet, so that's actually pretty good. The Tall Boys are going in. They're full health. All the Ridden are full health right now with an end cap, so that's actually not good. The Shredder managed to get 2 pulls, but does get popped. And the res does happen, despite the Ripper being right in their face. They do kill it. So they're also going to be pretty healthy here at 436. Not quite as healthy as the last team, but now with that down on Doc, the other ones are going to heal up. And Doc could always heal herself. They're going to be somewhat healthy here. Shredder goes in. They do see it, though, and they pop it immediately. They don't give it even a chance. Their circle, though, is going to be like half in the corn and half outside. This is going to be kind of rough. I don't even think they're going to be able to spawn block those hay bales. Walker's trying to, but he's one of the lower ones, so he actually has to come back in for a second. Doc does go down. That's a good thing, and the Shredder does manage to get a sneaky spawn off there, which is going to be real bad when he pulls in there. That nade is going to be just slightly too late, and it's all because they can't see him in that cornfield. They're going to rush here, and this is going to be too much, probably. Yeah, this is going to be too much common. They're all hurt. Unless one of them goes down, the other one gets the res, but no, they don't. Mozam does hit the nade, but he's just slightly too weak, and one more hit, and that's going to be it, and the Swarm takes it. Whew, 530 to 537. They had a chance, but that circle, honestly, that kind of sealed the deal for them. That and the Shredder pull there at the end into the corn. That was rough. If they got a little better circle, I think Team A1 might actually could have taken that round. Close one. Close one. Way better than round 1.